What's going on, everyone? Today, I'm very, very excited to have one of my very, very good friends and colleagues, Ken, who is a pharmacist in the OR, with us today to speak about his experience not matching during the pharmacy residency match. So I'm going to ask Ken a couple of questions, starting with just some background information about him. And we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of what we're really here to talk about today, which is not matching during the pharmacy residency. So Ken, if you want to give the viewers just some of your background, where you went to school, pharmacy school, and where you did residency.
Sure. Yeah. I'll start with undergrad. I went to undergrad at Florida State. And then there's not really a pharmacy school at FSU, so I had to decide to move to Gainesville and go to UF. So a little bit of a rivalry there, but I went to pharmacy school at UF, and then I guess we'll get into this a little bit later. Ultimately did do a PGY1 residency at a community hospital, and now I work as a pharmacist at a large academic medical center.
You know, I completely forgot you went to FSU.
Hey, it's all good, man. It was fun. I love Tallahassee. I mean, that's where my mom lives too, so I still go back and visit her quite a bit. And it's a great town, great school. Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. That's good, man. You weren't a huge FSU fan, were you? Or were you?
Well, the thing was when I was at FSU, that was when UF was winning all the national championships. So it wasn't the right time to be a big sports fan. And
Gotcha.
Then when I came to UF, the sports, programs at UF, they were not doing so well.
It was
at the time.
Switch.
Yeah. So it happens. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. I forgot the little nugget about you, but okay. So just to give some of the viewers a little bit of background on your residency interests, what, if you can summarize very briefly, what really made you want to pursue a residency?
Yeah. So, I didn't have a lot of pharmacy experience going into pharmacy school. I had worked as a pharmacy tech at a community pharmacy. And so I wasn't really exposed to hospital pharmacy or health system pharmacy until much later, honestly, my third and fourth year of pharmacy school. And at my school, we had recently started block rotations, and I got a 1-year block rotation at the academic medical center associated with my school. And so that was kind of being thrown into hospital pharmacy really for the first time. And so getting to, do all the things that hospital pharmacists do, rounding with medical teams, being part of, rotations in medication safety, drug policy, administration. That is what got me excited about the possibility of being a hospital pharmacist. And many of my preceptors had done residency. And so, I wanted to be like my preceptors. And so I wanted to follow along in their path. And so that was kind of part of that big drive of wanting to do a residency.
So here's the fun part. Obviously, we're on this video talking about, what do we do when we don't match? So take me back to that day right before you checked your match results.
Yeah.
I remember mine very vividly, but give me two impressions of how you felt. One being right before you checked your match results, and then the second one, how you felt immediately after.
Yeah. So, checking my email that day, man, my rotations had gone so well, and I had great interviews. I mean, I won't tell you where, but they were really like well-known places. Like it was, my confidence was high because I felt like these were good programs. They were a great fit for what I wanted to do and what they were able to offer. I felt like I had interviewed well. So like everything was going so well. And you know, some of the on some of the interviews, you may get this as well. You know, where the RPD would say things like, "Oh, you'll be hearing from me," or "We'll keep in touch," almost like kind of giving like a nod to say like, "Hey, you know, good things are coming." And so, you know, I woke up early that morning to check my email, and I can't remember if it was one of those things like there was a certain time it was coming out, and sitting there like hitting refresh. And I think you had done this on another video where you open up that email and the color of the font is either green or black. Like if you've been accepted, it's green, and if you haven't been accepted, then it's black. And so I'm looking for that like font color. And you know, I just wanted to know where I had matched. Like that's the thing. And I open up that email, and when it says, you know, you didn't match, that was bad. I mean, just like instant, like doom just kind of like takes over you.
I can definitely relate. I don't remember what time the match results were released. I think it was really early, sometime between like 5 and 6 a.m. But I didn't check mine until a couple hours later. When you started talking, it just triggered a question in me. How many interviews did you actually go to, and how many programs did you actually apply to?
Yeah, so I applied to, I think, 10 programs. And no, applied to like 7 programs and got interviews at 3. And honestly, I wish that I had applied to more programs, because, you know, you apply to programs kind of expecting to get interviews, and, you know, I was right around 50%, a little bit low. One of the programs that I applied to had both a like a PGY1 and a admin program, and so it's the same, you know, the same hospital, but 2 different programs. So I applied to both of those and got an interview to one of those, but not the other, and then 2 others. So yeah, it was less than 50% of my applications resulted in interviews. So I'm like, crap, you know, I should have applied to 12 so I could get 6 interviews or something like that. But, you know, the audience, the folks that are watching this, at least in the current residency cycle, it's kind of too late to apply to more places. But I think if I could go back, I would have applied to more programs than I did.
I think I would feel the same. If I went back, I would have applied to more. We actually have the same statistics. I applied to 7 and I got 3 interviews.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next piece, I obviously know the answer, which is about the scramble. You obviously, you know, participated in the scramble, but I know that, you know, you can look at the match statistics on ASHP, and me personally, I did not want to participate in the scramble. Like, you know, just hearing your story, you must have been pretty devastated after seeing that result. Mm-hmm. You know, you lose all this confidence. Why did you participate in the scramble? Like, you know, the odds are horrible. Like when I was doing the scramble, it was like 1,500 unmatched applicants for 150 spots.
Yeah.
So the question
10%, yeah.
Yeah. So like what went through your mind? Like what made you decide to actually participate in the scramble?
You know, I don't think that I wanted like anything else, you know, like it was one of those things where it's like, this has to happen. At the time, at least, I'm like, I'm gonna do everything that I can, exhaust every opportunity to get a position. And I also knew this going in, it's hard to not feel rejected, but there are really incredible programs that are in the Scramble, and they could be in the Scramble for multiple reasons. They could have simply got late funding for the position, and so they couldn't advertise it ahead of time. For whatever reason, they just didn't fill all the spots. And so, I don't know if in like immediately after checking my email, if I wasn't pumped about the Scramble. I mean, it was a period of time, but it only lasted like an hour because I knew that like we had to get to work, So it's like I felt, down for an hour, and then I knew that the race was on for those positions. And so the list, the list of unmatched positions that gets published like a couple hours after the results. So it's not like you can not match and then go straight to the unmatched positions. You unmatch, and then there's like a period of a couple hours or whatever it is. I can't remember what it is, that you can do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like you're literally helpless. You're just sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. And so use that time to feel sorry for yourself. And then as soon as that list of positions goes live and you see it, there's 150 positions on there. That's when it's time to get to work. You just got to focus.
Just hearing you talking about it brings back that.
It's so bad. It's
that
so
rush.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like again, so there is this feeling of rejection, but it is hopeful to know that, I mean, there's 150 positions out there. And when you look at the list, you're going to see incredible programs. I mean, incredible programs, and some that you didn't necessarily think that you would be interested in at first, but because they're available and you're available, it all of a sudden that looks a lot more attractive than, not going for it at all. So yeah, go for it.
Absolutely. I think you were way more determined than I am. I was in complete shambles.
Yeah.
But no, that's good. So let's move on to that next sequence where, okay, you're going to participate in the Scramble. Take me through, like, at a very high level, how did you approach it? Like, did you go out and just like research all these programs? Did you like call a lot of people? Like, what really were your next steps in that process?
Yeah, so I think I probably text like 50 people in that first hour. Like I'm thinking, like, you text every preceptor you ever had that you have a good relationship with, your professors, like anybody that you have made a connection with through pharmacy school that you think could help you, because you're going to see, like, on the list of programs, you're going to see, my ICU preceptor did their residency at that program, and my admin preceptor did his residency at that program, and I met somebody at a conference that is the ID pharmacist at that program, and I went on a medical mission trip with one of the pharmacists at that program. And so, like, your entire pharmacy student career up until that point kind of begins to sort of cross-reference that list of unmatched positions. And so that's your starting point, is just texting everybody, you know. And actually, I remember one of my mentors in pharmacy school, I remember texting him saying, hey, is so-and-so still at this hospital? Because they have an unmatched position. And it's where I ended up matching. But is that pharmacist still there at that hospital? Does he still work there? And he texted me back, he's like, actually, he's standing right next to me. Like, we're at a conference together or something like that. He's standing right next to me. Do you need to talk to him? And I'm like, yeah, I need to talk to him right now. And so, yeah, it's just the connections. And so I blasted everybody that I could: text, email, phone call, anybody that I could that I thought might be able to help me stand out, or at least get a look at any of those programs.
And this was like right after you found out?
Yeah, this is like, you know, so if the results came out at, 5 a.m. and the list of unmatched positions came out at 7, this is like 7:05. I'm going through and just, hitting everybody up that I can.
Wow. That's definitely very determined. I didn't even look at that scramble list until probably 2 days later. I just was pretty devastated. And the thing that I think is unique, I don't know when it was implemented, but like for your year, because my year was the very first year the entire scramble process went online.
Mm-hmm.
Your year, did you have phase 2 in your year?
I think everything was online because I still had all my stuff in, is it Forecast or Pharmcast? There's one that we applied to pharmacy school in, and there's one in the residency. I think it's Forecast. So yeah, all your stuff is in Forecast. So you kind of need to, I think, tweak like your letters of intent, because they're written to different people, and they may be written with a different tone, So like, for example, if your programs prior to the scramble were academic medical centers, and you direct your letter of intent towards that audience, and now you're scrambling to, let's say, a large community hospital, that language doesn't necessarily, fit. So you kind of have to rework the audience, because you have to change some things. But I'm pretty sure that everything was in Forecast, and so I could still, shoot off transcripts and things like that.
Okay. Well, we're gonna wrap up this video here, and I'll ask you one last question. So I think this match day is on the 22nd or 23rd, one of those days. So in a little less than a month now. And, it's scary to think about those match statistics, in which I think the 2017 was either 66 or 67%. That's a lot of unmatched applicants,
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary. So, from your experience, what kind of words or wisdom would you want to share with those students that do find themselves in the scramble?
I don't have anything that is like, a one-line takeaway. Like, it's gonna be okay. You've worked really hard up until this point. You are going to sit for your board exam, whether you have a residency or not. You're going to be a pharmacist, residency or not. And, while I'm very thankful that I was able to scramble into a position and felt that it opened up an incredible amount of opportunities for me, there's so many other people out there that chose a different path, whether it's fellowship, whether it's, working at a hospital without a residency, which, believe it or not, can happen. It's amazing how many pharmacists that can work in a hospital straight out of school, And so, yeah, like it's going to be okay. as difficult as it is, try not to let that process, and whether you scramble and match or scramble and don't match, like, don't let that define you. Don't let that be something that makes you feel less than compared to other people. Like, everything's going to be okay. And in actuality, like, if I can just share this story, when I scrambled and went on the interview where I ended up going to residency, my best friend was there interviewing for the same position in school. So here's the two of us were incredible friends from pharmacy school, and we're interviewing for the exact same position, and only one of us are going to get it. I ended up getting the position. That hospital hired him as a staff pharmacist at the same time that I started. So we interviewed for the same residency position. I got the position. They still hired him as a pharmacist. So he's making, 3 times or more as much as me, and I'm a resident and he's a pharmacist. And then, we go through that, and then I move on, and I take a position as an operating room pharmacist. He continues to work. And wouldn't you know it, that now I'm 3 years out of residency. He is now working in the operating room at that hospital, and I'm working in the operating room at my hospital. Like, we have ended up at nearly the exact same place in our career in a relatively short amount of time. I mean, we're both within 4 years of graduating. So it's okay. Like, one event really isn't the defining moment of your career. Like, what defines your moment is, like, each day, you build each day, and your career it will direct wherever you want it to direct, residency or not, scramble or not. So it will be okay.
I think that is very, very fantastic advice. And I think, even when I didn't match, people would say, don't let that single event define you. It's more, truly, you think back to just the sheer numbers, 150 unmatched applicants, 150 spots. There's not even enough residency spots to begin with. So you could be, there could be 1,500, and it probably is very likely 1,500 very well qualified applicants that truly there's just not enough spots. And I think your story is fantastic. I completely forgot that happened because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, a lot of my friends that didn't match as well did end up taking, excellent positions, and they are in very great spots today, and a lot less loans than I am.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's a whole nother topic that maybe you'll do a video on, is the decision to do a residency. And I don't regret my decision to do residency. I really felt like it helped me grow as an individual and as a professional, and opened up a lot of opportunities for me. But that's a significant decision to make to, it's like something like 40% of my take-home pay from residency went to pay the interest on my student loans. Like, it was bad because I didn't do like 100% deferral. I kept up with the interest during residency. And that's a big decision, to put kind of your financial goals on hold for another year after doing your PharmD program and maybe a bachelor's program before that, to put your financial goals on hold for a whole additional year. But that's a whole nother topic.
That is a great topic, and I've mentioned it in some of my videos in the past because I think it certainly is something that needs to be considered. But we can kind of wrap this up. Is there anything at all that I did not, ask or cover that you might want to just say out to the world out there?
Nah, man. Except I'm really proud of you. I think what you're doing is really awesome. Sharing your knowledge. You've always been somebody that's wanted to share your knowledge with people. So this platform's cool. I'm excited to see all the things that you're doing. Your education, continuing to educate yourself. That's really cool. So I'm proud of you. I hope you don't do it so that people are proud of you. I hope you're doing it because it's something that you really want to do inside, but it's nice to know that people are proud of you. So I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it, man. That's some very nice and kind words. It was actually great talking to you. I think it's been a while.
Yeah.
We've chatted, so it was nice to catch up a little bit. Okay, well, let's wrap up this video. I don't know how long we went, but it was a pretty decent amount of time. So for those students or pharmacists or residents that may be interested in contacting Ken, I'll go ahead and leave his LinkedIn profile below in the description, and you guys can reach out to them. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Ken, for being here today. And we will see you guys next time.
All right, see ya.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in and watching the video. If you like the content, definitely hit the ImproRx button over to your left to subscribe, and definitely check out more videos over here to your right. Now, as always, if you have questions, comments, and even better, suggestions for future videos, definitely let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, until next time, guys.